Hey, welcome back. Tonight's lesson, we're just going to build a fairly simple bracket. If you look at the screen, I'm kind of showing this bracket that we're going to build for this little water pump. This water pump is going to be used in a water cooling system for an electric motor that's going to be for a really small electric car. So it doesn't take a lot of volume to pump the coolant through there to keep our temperatures down. The heat's really going to create issues for us if we can't keep those things down. I created this drawing just to kind of give us a little bit of a reference. When you get ready to create your drawing and submit this in the assignment, you're going to put your datum planes out here. Not too worried about the positional type tolerances, but if you look at the dimensions are all going to be in basic except for the ones that are features of size where you're going to actually be able to measure these things. Another thing is I'm going to make this out of 4340 steel instead of this piece of 3D printed plastic here. So the thickness will change on it later on, but I want to be able to weld this to the car frame later on, but this is just a proof of concept. That's why they call it rapid prototyping. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're going to use a little cleaned up version of our drawing so we can see it, via the internet. I'm going to close this down, expand this fully. That's going to be good. So let's get started with it, and the main thing is this shape here. It looks relatively complicated, but it's not. So that's probably the one that we're going to get started with. Basic shape overall, it's a simple rectangle. It's 2 3/4 wide, 3 1/4 tall, and it's going to be 0.300 thick. And then we have this little funky looking shape right here. The other holes are basically just a simple hole up here at the top and a counterbore hole, and then a couple radiuses at the top and a couple fillet radiuses at the bottom as well. Alright, so let's make sure that you got SolidWorks open, and we want to start with inch, pounds, and seconds. So let's create a new part, and we want to verify that it is in inches down at the bottom right hand corner. So inch, pounds, seconds is what's showing up. So let's start with an extruded boss base. I'm going to hover over the top plane, and that's the one that I want to use to begin with. I'm going to come up and select a center rectangle, pull it up, place it, and we said that we grab a smart dimension, and we said it was 2.75 wide and 3.25 tall. Alright, and we exit this sketch. We should be in the extrusion, and we want to be blind, and we want it to be 0.3. Go ahead and accept that. Use my F button for fit. Let's go ahead and change our material. So I want to right click on the edit material. It's going to be in the steel. I'm just going to say it's a 4340 annealed. Apply and close. So now we've got some material properties and some mass and everything else out there. This will be a pretty heavy part. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to cut this shape out. Now I could make this shape very, very complicated if I wanted to, but we know that the center of these radiuses is going to be 2 1/4 up. The radius is going to be 0.658 here, and then we have a positional tolerance of 1.213 to the center of this one and 1.548 to the center of that one. Alright, so let's start with an extruded cut. I want to pick this face. It should rotate normal to you. I want to pick a straight slot, pull it out, make sure your line is horizontal, place it here. And we said that the radius was 0.658. So we'll go ahead and place that. Then the next thing was a position from here to here. That's going to automatically default to the center. And that was going to be the center of this, 1.213. And then we got a position from here to here. Now if I pick this, I'm going to have to reverse my dimension. So I'm going to go grab the center. I'm sorry. I wanted to pick from this edge to the center of my circle. I want to place it here. So that position from the left hand side, this datum A, was going to be 1.548. So we're going to say 1.548. So that's the basic shape of this. Now we have to position it up and down. I think it was 2 1/4 from the bottom, and it is. So we're still in Smart Dimension. Pick the bottom edge, pick one of your radiuses, and that's going to be 2.25. We are now fully defined. I'll know that by looking at the bottom right hand corner. I sketch turned from blue to black. So we're ready to make our cut. So we had selected extruded cut to begin with. So when we exit our sketch, we're going to select the extruded cut, and I want to select through all instead of a blind depth. So go ahead and accept that. Now, this doesn't really look like this, but if we look here, it's just a simple circular type shape. It looks like it's called out as a radius right now, but we can just put circles out here. It's easier to cut air than it is anything else. So let's come up and select extrude cut again. We want to pick this front face that we're looking at. I'm going to put 4 circles out here. Now, this one is still baby blue and the rest of them are dark blue, but I want to come up and I want to add a relation. So one of the arcs is selected. That's going to be that one. I pick this one, and this one. So I have all 4 of them. I want to make sure that those are equal. Now, another couple relations that I want to add. I think I want to add 2 more. I'm going to pick the center point of my top circle and the center point of my other top circle. I want to make those 2 horizontal from one another. Alright, I also want to pick the center point of my bottom circle and the center point of my other bottom circle. Make sure that you only have those 2 selected, and I want to make those 2 horizontal from one another as well. Alright, so when we look back at our drawing, it says that this radius is 0.17. When we do select our dimensions and place it, it's going to be double that, so that's going to be 0.34, and then we'll worry about positioning these things. I think we're only going to have 2 positions to fully define this. So let's come select Smart Dimension, pick any one of the circles and make sure that they all change. So that's going to be 0.34. And now I want to place a dimension from the bottom up, I believe. So that's going to be 1.681. So that's coming from datum B up to the center of that circle. So we're still in Smart Dimension. So I pick the bottom edge, pick the circle, and I've already forgotten what it was, 1.681. So notice both of these are turned black, so it's tied those up. It's fully defined those because we have a size, a location, and a face that they're selected on. Now I've done something a little bit different, so I think we're going to come over from the top right hand side. Now it's kind of strange, but we've already located those circles in a couple different ways. So we're going to come from datum A over, and it's 0.884. So we should still be in Smart Dimensioning. So I'm going to pick this left edge, pick my circle, pull it up, place it down, and that's going to be 0.884. Alright, so there's where those circles are. We are fully defined, so we can exit this sketch. We should be in the cut extrude still. If not, go ahead and select cut extrude. And we want to cut through all because we don't have to worry about it again if we change the thickness of our part. So now we've got this kind of a Garfield looking shape right here. So we come up and we look, and it says that we have another fillet radius right here. There's 8 of them, and they're 0.2. So let's come back down here. Let's select a fillet. Let's change our size to 0.2. Now I'm going to show you a different little trick right here. So I'm just going to pick one edge, let this flyout open up, and if I come up and I hover over these flyouts, it shows me everything that I can do that I can select with one click. And I want to click these other 7 edges. So I select it, it gives me the preview, and that's what I'm looking for. Alright, so I'm going to use the Control-7 command. I need to save this. I always name mine junk. You name it for whatever your part number is supposed to be called. Alright, so the next thing I want to do, let's go ahead and place these 2 holes right here. So they're 2 1/4 up. They're 0.150 through, and we have locations of 355 and 2.395. So I'm going to use the 150 and the 2 1/4, and then we'll come back and look at the rest of the dimensions. Alright, so let's use a hole wizard. I'm going to use the simple hole command. I'm going to make sure that I show custom sizing. I've already got mine called out as 0.150 because that was the last thing that I'd used before. Alright, so now we've got all this. Let's make sure that we don't have anything else like a near side or a far side countersink selected. So I'm up to positions, Now it's going to ask us what face we want to place our holes on. I want to place it on this face here. I'm going to use my Control 8 command just to orient it. Now I'm just going to place it out here somewhere. Don't really know where they're supposed to be or anything else. Now I want to add a relation. So notice the last point that I selected is still highlighted. I'll come select my other one, and I want to make those two horizontal from one another. Alright, so I'm through with relations. I want to add a smart dimension. So I'll come select smart dimension command. I'm going to pick this bottom edge and the center point of the circle, and it was going to be 2.25. Alright, they're still blue, but they rotated, they moved around. Alright, so we're looking at 0.355 to the center of this hole. So we're still in smart dimension. I select the left edge, I select this center point, and that was 0.355. Now the next position of this hole is going to be 2.395. So from datum A, I come over here and I look, it's got a basic dimension of 2.395, and we're going to select this hole here. So smart dimension from the left edge, center of this hole, 2.395. So that hole is fully defined. This one is fully defined. We look down here at the bottom right hand corner, we are fully defined, so we're ready to accept this hole feature command, and we accept it, and we now have two holes in here. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want to use this counterbore, or select a counterbore feature. So it looks like we have two times. They're 0.230 through all. The counterbore diameter is going to be 0.531, and the depth of this is going to be 0.188 or 3/16. Alright, so let's come back and select the hole wizard one more time. We want to select a counterbore. We want to show custom sizing. So our custom sizing, the through hole diameter, notice if you hover over it for any length of time, it tells you what it is. So it's going to be 0.230. The counterbore diameter is going to be 0.531, and then the depth of that counterbore is going to be 0.188. Okay, make sure that none of this other stuff is selected, so we don't want any head clearance or near side. We've already given it all the parameters that we want here by using our custom sizing. So positions, same face. We want to select the positions. I'm going to pick this face. I'm going to use my Control 8 command just to kind of where we can see it. So I'm going to place one here, and I'm going to place another one. I'm just going to move it up just a little bit to make sure that we show that it's askew. Alright, so now let's add a relation. So as I'm adding a relation, this point is already selected because it's highlighted baby blue. I would like to select the other point, and I want to make those two horizontal from one another. Alright, so now we've got to locate these things up, and we've got to locate them side to side. I think we're going to have 3 dimensions on here. So coming up, we've got 0.600 and then 0.625 across. We'll come back and look at that. So smart dimension, so up to here, the location is going to be 0.6. We're still in the smart dimension command, so I'm going to select my left edge and the center point of the first hole, and that was 0.625. And now the next dimension that we got is the distance between here and here, and that's going to be 2 1/8, or 2.125. So select the left edge, center point of your circle, 2.125. Alright, I clicked out in the paper modeling space somewhere, and just to kind of release that, everything looks as it's turned from blue to black. I come down here to the bottom right, we are fully defined, so I'm going to go ahead and accept this, and that is the hole that we want in our part. Now the next thing that we want to do is we have fillet radius up here at the top, and it looks like we've got 1 inch at the top and we have a 1/2 inch at the bottom. So let's go ahead and place those. So we want to use the fillet command. Select the fillet. So I'm going to say 0.5. We'll just pick the bottom one down here. Pick here and here. Let's give them a preview. Just make sure you got full preview selected if you want to see what it's going to look like. So we go ahead and accept that. And then we want to use another fillet command, and that's going to be 1 inch. So I'm going to come up and pick this edge, and if I hover over this, I can actually select it from looking through the part, and we want to accept that as well. So I'm going to use my Control 7 command to put it in isometric. I want to use my Control S to save it one more time, and that is going to be your finished part. So this is what you're going to create your drawing from. Just make sure that you got it named in the proper naming format. Make sure that your drawing has its title block and all the changes on it, and submit that through your learning management system, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you.